Thanks for taking a moment to look at our mortgage freedom system. This could be your fastest way to eliminate your mortgage in a fraction of the time without increasing your expenses. The purpose of this program is simply this. We want to help you protect your home from foreclosure, or even deal with the fact that you may have been defrauded from the very beginning on your mortgage. If that did happen, even if your mortgage is currently in good standing, you have rights. So we show you some strategies and ways that you can deal with that situation. You see, there's a lot of complexity to looking at different mortgage options out there, and we try to simplify it by giving you some basic ideas as to how this works. The bottom line is, you are the creditor that created your note. The bank would like you to think that they did. And that's very important when it comes to making an argument as to the real source of the mortgage. Because what you may not know is that you created the credit for that mortgage. You created the money. For example, take a look at your what I call livestock certificate, which is your birth certificate. Notice that it's actually printed on banknote paper. Why is that? Because you've been monetized from the very beginning, since the day you were born. That's why your entire life is spent paying debts, fees, fines, loans, interest, and so on. You're set up to be somebody who constantly pays into a system your whole life. And is it an honest system in your favor? We feel it's not. So if you get a copy of your note and trust deed, you can also look at how they're put together. You'll find out that the loan actually has you saying lies when you signed that promissory note. Get a copy of your note and trust deed. And just notice that it says, "For a loan I have received," yet you never did receive a loan at that point. You think you were, but in actuality that's not what was happening. Yet you went ahead and signed it anyway. Then you signed a separate contract called a note or trust deed, and that contract bound you to a long-term payment of interest and fees. You may not have had to do all that. Who is this for? Well, primarily it's for people with mortgages on their residential property. That's who we're focused on. However, other types of mortgages could also be involved, including credit card debt. We don't teach that directly, but you could take the strategies we teach and apply it there effectively. See, the bottom line is you're a citizen. Now, we've been taught to think that that's a benefit. The reality is it makes you the debtor, the person who's supposed to spend your life paying taxes and debt and interest. And many times you were tricked into this. And by the way, this is not for those unwilling to take a chance or a position on a subject. We feel very strongly about this, and so do our students. You have to follow an established process, you have to be flexible, you have to study, and you have to follow through. It is not a magic pill, but I can tell you that many people using these strategies have had great degrees of success. There have been some recent cases even in the courts appearing, and there are more and more all the time, showing that a lender must have standing in order to have a claim that there is a debt. But the reality is most of the original notes don't exist because they've been converted into securities and altered. That's critically important for you to understand your case. Here's how a basic bank loan works. When you go in to sign for the loan, you are the creditor. You have to be because you're the person who signs the promissory note. This actually creates money in the bank system. Now, I know this is hard for most people to get, but this is how it works. You create the money. Be sure you read our ebook on this subject. It goes into much more detail. The bottom line is that note is converted into cash. The bank puts it on its ledger as cash. Then they can write a check to the seller or to the entity being paid out of that transaction. But it's all done on paper. It's all done electronically. They did not lend money. Your signature created the money. Then you sign a secondary document called a mortgage or trust deed. That's the security instrument that binds you to further pay, and it ties up the property. It gives the bank the right to come and take it from you if you don't pay that note. But you did pay the note. It was paid for in the beginning. But if you don't pay that mortgage contract, they can come and get it. And then they turn around and they sell those notes to the secondary market. They're not really selling the notes, they're selling the mortgage contracts without the note typically. And that breakage is critical to winning a case. And it's being done all the time. The question is, did the bank risk their own money? Did they get paid at some point? Which we think they did at the beginning. And did they disclose any of this to you as to how this whole process works with your note? No, they misled you and made you believe you were getting a loan. Once you research this, you can decide whether you agree or not. But that's our opinion. Here are some situations we commonly address. For example, let's say you're facing an upcoming foreclosure. Or maybe it's after foreclosure. Well, you are a damaged party if they're making a claim against you and they cannot prove their claim. So we show you how to buy the necessary time to conduct the administrative process. Now this is an out-of-court process typically. However, in many states you are dealing with the courts during this process. And of course we prepare you on how you can go out there and deal with that situation. It's not something to be afraid of, it's something to look forward to because it's your opportunity to make the lender prove their case, which is a very hard thing for them to do once you understand that process. The bottom line is this: no proof of claim by them, no mortgage. If your mortgage is in good standing, you can apply the same process as well. Now, I know most people who are in foreclosure maybe are more willing to give that a try, but the reality is you can still challenge the lender as to their claim. If they're saying you owe them a debt and maybe you don't owe it, no claim equals no mortgage. The goal here is to get you a default judgment in your favor if they will not settle with you. And this default judgment is fairly easy to get because they cannot respond to the demands, even though they are reasonable demands and things that they should be able to prove. And their lack of response proves their problem. No claim, no mortgage. So the bottom line is then you can go and then enforce that claim, hold them accountable, remove their powers, and collect judgment liens based upon that automatic judgments that you can put together. Now how this all comes together depends on your circumstances, and it will vary slightly. What we do is we show you the 30,000 foot view, how to make your decisions, and how to implement this.